You know, we got some pretty frightening warnings this week, didn't we, about Jeep Grand Cherokees and Liberties. Let me remind you, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the design of the gas tanks in some models dating back to 1993 poses a risk of spilling gas and fire if the SUV is hit from behind. Well, the Chrysler Group is fighting the recall for 2.7 million vehicles, saying the analysis was faulty. So let's talk to automotive analyst from New York and correspondent for AOL and Time Warner Cable News, Lauren Fix. Lauren, thanks for taking some time for us this morning. So let me ask you, how common is the placement of gas tanks in the rear of the vehicle as we see in the Grand Cherokee or Liberty? I mean, how many of us who don't drive those cars should be aware?
Well, here's the thing. That was the design standard of the time. We're talking about 10 years ago, where it was very common to put a gas tank behind the axle. Now, this is true in these Liberties and these Grand Cherokees. However, the accidents that they were referring to, that NHTSA was referring to, is literally one vehicle in a million years of driving. So the chances of that happening, so the case that was brought to NHTSA, and this is what I want people to be aware, was a vehicle that was standing still when a tractor trailer hit a Grand Cherokee. That caused a fire. That would cause a fire in pretty much any vehicle. And the solution that NHTSA is suggesting is absolutely not a good solution. They're talking about skid plates underneath the vehicle that is used for off-roading. It is not used for cars in the street. So you, as a consumer, you need to know that an older vehicle is not going to have the same safety standards as something that was built today. And if you look at the new Grand Cherokee, which looks totally different, I think that Chrysler actually has a case. They've won against NHTSA before, as they did in '97 with the Dodge Stratus. So
you're saying that we can be pretty confident in vehicles we drive if we drive vehicles that were made at what date? From what date on?
Well, the fact is that every car, as it gets older, is going, if it's in an accident, it has a higher chance of damage. And think about it, if you've got an SUV in a car or an SUV in a tractor trailer, you're going to have bumper heights that are different. Those regulations and rules have changed. When these vehicles that you're showing were built, they exceeded the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration standards. So what you need to know is that if an older vehicle, you're concerned about it, take it to a collision shop. Have someone look underneath it before you purchase that vehicle, or if you own that vehicle. If there's rust, if there's damage, get it repaired, because that substructure underneath the car is what is actually protecting you. If you're concerned about that specific vehicle, you look at the stats from all of the vehicles that were built during that time period, and you will find that the Jeep Grand Cherokee was actually on the lowest end of the fatalities. What you're showing there was something that was hit by a tractor trailer. Anything that's hit at 0 miles an hour actually multiplies by 23 times the energy. That's a lot. And that would, I don't care if you're driving another SUV, if two tractor trailers hit at that speed, there's going to be that same type of explosion.
All righty. Hey, Lauren Fix, we appreciate all the insight today. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sure.